Good afternoon. It is Monday, November 10th, and this is our HR Business Service meeting. I will call us to order at 4:35 with Member Sadowski, Chair Sadowski gone. You're stuck with me running this meeting this evening, so bear with me. So we've got a hefty, it's not hefty, it's actually kind of a brief agenda today. So we will start with the HR report.
Sure. And I'll start off, and then we have our HR manager, Steve Johnson, with us today as well to assist and support, since I'm the interim director of human resources, but I readily admit my lack of complete knowledge on every human resource item. I know some things about some things, but having Steve here to support is really helpful. But as far as in our manager's minutes, we're working on the MDE STAR report, which is basically a report on our staff, and we've asked for an extension. We've asked for extension previously, but we're doing it this time partly because we have we're missing a director, and we have Steve in his new role. So we asked for an 8-day extension, which is nothing major. We're also working on our November open enrollment. And because of there's an issue with Blue Cross Blue Shield and Aspirus St. Luke's, they did not complete contract negotiations. So if you're an Aspirus St. Luke's patient and you want to keep your Blue Shield, you're not able to do that. You have to switch to Essentia at this point. We're also working on creating a framework for Minnesota Family Leave. We're reviewing the 4000 series, which is human resources, and we had a successful COVID and flu piece here. And we've also been working on improving our standard operating protocols for roles in the department. We're reviewing our handbook, a lot of other things. We've also been working with Teresa Willems for the course of the past week or so. She's been assisting the department as a consultant. She is a retired chief human resources officer from Green Bay, who I worked with, but we also brought her in to work on some things like reworking our transportation systems and supporting in those areas. So very helpful in that regard. So that concludes my human resources report. Anything you'd add, Mr. Johnson?
Not at this point, but the STARS report may be done on time. We're just doing that as a precaution at this point, with some of us being pretty new. So I don't anticipate any problems there.
Thank you, and welcome again. I know we welcomed you a couple of weeks ago, but welcome again. So next, let's talk about enrollment. So our total enrollment right now is 8217, right? 8,000, yeah, there we are. 0.73, that makes me laugh. And then the graphs are just kind of the same information that we can view differently. Child nutrition. I love that they always give us pictures.
Excuse me, I have
Sorry.
a question. Thank you. No problem. So this is the enrollment area. Again, if we can go back to that. So as it relates to revenue, what does that look like with the additional students?
It's a great question. We will not see any additional revenue for this until a year from December. Because we have to go through the school year, and then in December, it's like around December 1st, December 4th, depending where that day lands, they do a final count, and that's when we get our cleanup funding. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So moving on to child nutrition. The newly formed Wellness Committee had its first meeting. The committee is made up of staff, community members, parents, and grandparents. The committee meets quarterly and will revise the current wellness policy. Farm to School Month was celebrated by cafeterias promoting Minnesota-grown and harvested products weekly. The Minnesota Great Apple Crunch was also a fun event, celebrated in October with local apples, Johnny Appleseed making another appearance. The students at Stowe and Laura Mack were thrilled to meet Johnny Appleseed and get some stickers, and that's what the cute pictures are. We received notification of a state of Minnesota audit for our after-school meals program at Denfeld, and the auditor will be present for the meal service in the later part of November. We submitted a farm-to-school grant that would be for farm-to-school products next summer and the following school year. Recipients will be notified in January if they were selected for the funds, and the grant is a 50-50 match. The food service unit has a newly settled, 3-year contract, and we're working through the changes with HR. And there are currently 3 jobs open at East, Ordine East, and Laura MacArthur. Any questions on the child nutrition? All right. So now we will move on to facilities. What we're working on a bunch. So construction at the D&T is underway. So here at the DSC, we're working on the transportation building expansion. Construction is complete, currently going over punch list items. At Denfeld, there's still work on the clock tower heating project. The clock timing mechanism is completed with all faces showing the correct time, which is always what you want with the clock. Water main break and repair completed. At East, there's some manufacturing space development for new equipment. District-wide, we're doing lighting replacement, and there's an opening for contractor bids. There's the annual fire marshal walkthrough. At Ordine East, the student kitchen remodel is under technical scope development. At Myers-Wilkins, conditional use permit with the city of Duluth for the installation of a guardrail, approved, waiting on the city of Duluth to do the installation, and that is following the accident, I believe. Okay. Quiet room build-outs under scope development with contractors. Any questions there? Mr. Banks?
Sure, thank you. Mr. Brown, I have a question for you related to the First Street building. I was there a few weeks ago or so. I'd like to come back on the 26th with Member Sadowski.
Okay.
Because, just so folks know, we continue to get emails from staff people who will have offices and other activities in the new building. And so I just want to take another look and hear from you again.
You can come down anytime you want. Just give me a holler. I'll take you down there.
Thank you.
But I can fit you in with the next tour, the 26th, I think it is.
Okay, thank you.
Also, Brian will be reviewing the high-level report that's further into this report on the development and the structuring that's going on downtown.
So don't go too far.
I'm sorry I didn't catch that.
I said, don't go too far. You're up again in a few
Okay.
minutes. We good there? So next is technology. Let's see, manager's minutes. Regular meetings were held with the networking team to address connectivity issues being experienced across the district. Planning continues for the rollout of Google's Gemini AI platform. The department is developing roadmaps for the consolidation of systems at our rented data center space and working to implement efficiencies in our telephone and building-to-building network services. And that will lower recurring expenses in the future, which is always something we want to do. What we're working on, staff finished upgrading the remaining Windows 10 PCs across the district to Windows 11, prepared for installation of interactive flat panel displays at 7 classrooms identified for piloting this technology, and that's at Dunfeld and at Orting East. Network staff are working to resolve a variety of network connectivity issues. Preparations are underway for the installation of a new core network switch this winter. We're in the 3rd month of recruiting for the vacant network architect position. We still want to see some qualified applicants before we start interviewing. Our security analyst position is posted through November 10th, which is today. So we intend to begin interviewing candidates real soon.
Just as an added note to that, and Mr. Bonds, if you want to add to it, feel free. But with the technology position, since they've been open for quite some time, we're also exploring some potential side support through contracted services, just while we wait to get those positions hired, just because of the serious nature of them with cybersecurity and things of that nature. We want to make sure that we're not leaving ourselves exposed. So we may contract for some support service in the interim while we're hiring for it.
Thank you. So transportation report. Staffing this month covered several key areas: student management, preventing bullying and harassment, and winter driving techniques. Additionally, Northwoods provided training focused on student interactions and de-escalation techniques. The department's staffing levels have been positively impacted by several recent changes. We have successfully hired another bus driver, achieving our target staffing level, and 2 part-time bus driver 2 positions have been converted to full-time status. We're currently in the process of hiring 2 additional bus helpers, and an additional van driver has been hired. So that all helps. Our current average bus mileage is 98,641. Our lowest mileage being 41,000, and our highest topping at 175,421. It's always interesting numbers to hear. We drive so much. So now, moving on to recommended resolutions. Sorry, any questions on transportation report? No? I'm not good at this. I'm getting there. Thank you. Sorry, Amber's going to watch this later. Amber, you told me well, thank you. Yeah, look how fast I'm going, Amber. I'll say it in the mic. So the resolution 4131, and that is, I'm going to look at my notes that abridged it for me a little bit. The resolution to approve the $9,080,000, and that's the bond to fix the First Street building. So there are 3 documents that are required by the state that need signature. And then the documents included in here, I now see why it's confusing when she says the 2 different page numbers. I never had the big book before. So we've got the resolution, the declaration of trust, and the amendment. Are there questions on it? Cool. I totally want to move on to the next one then. So the next one is 4132, and that is our resolution to accept donations. This is my favorite ones that we look at. So there are a lot, as usual. We live in a very generous community, and we will read them at our regular meeting. So I'm not going to call anybody out right now, but thank you again to our community for those. And then the last one is the resolution to accept a grant. We got a $600 grant for HOSA events, travel, and memberships for East and Dunfeld, and that is the Health Occupation Students of America. So any questions on the resolutions? Cool, cool, cool. So now we've got our HR staffing report. And this is where I took the book too early, so I've got an extra page that threw me off. So we've got the Director of Human Services job description in here. That was added.
Yeah, if I could just discuss that for a minute?
Please do.
Sure. So with several of our positions, sometimes with the leadership position, there are candidates that have really strong backgrounds, but might not have a master's degree in the position. So when we posted our technology director position, for instance, we changed the wording just a little bit so that we said that you could have a combination of real-world on-the-job experience and a bachelor's degree, but you didn't, and a master's degree was an optional piece. And so we changed the human resources director position description so that it was mirroring that previous work that we had for technology director. Just because sometimes you, like I said, sometimes you end up with somebody who may not have gotten a master's degree in something, but they've got 15, 20 years of experience in a certain career field, and they have as much expertise as we want and need. So we've made that shift. And one thing that I talked to Chair Eater about this afternoon too is since it's a pretty minor tweak in the job description, we are seeking to still post the position now. That's a common practice that we've done in other districts. And what we would do is, let's just say hypothetically, the board at the November meeting says, we don't like this, we're not voting for it, and they vote it down. We would not have done interviewing or hiring by then. And so we would then revert back to the previous job description. So it saves us a couple of weeks of waiting till the board votes on it, but it's just a minor tweak in the wording there from my standpoint.
Thank you for clarifying. That makes sense.
I have a quick question on that. So does that allow for more internal applications, or is this an external position?
It could be both. In fact, we had some people apply externally that had bachelor's degrees and a lot of experience, but not necessarily a master's degree. And we have some people internal that might be interested too, but they might not have a graduate degree in human resources. Graduate degree in human resources is kind of, I wouldn't say it's obscure, but it's not something that is always the norm. There might be somebody that's gone for a master's degree in something else, or somebody who's gone for certification or licensure in certain areas, but doesn't necessarily have a full graduate degree. So we broadened it just like we did with technology.
Great. We've got fundraisers reported, yeah, holiday stuff, and now it's your time to shine.
Finance, there's a finance
Oh,
report.
did I miss that?
Yes,
Sorry,
no worries.
give me a second. Where am I?
Page 61.
Thank you. All right, here we go. So our finance report here.
Is our budget summary, and we're 4 months in. We're still deep in our audit. Our audit is due November 30th. Our finance manager is working hard to get all of that information to our auditors. And there's nothing unusual about our budget summary right now. It's just business as usual. Thank you.
There we go. Okay, so now. Oh, that's what, yeah, I jumped to fundraisers and skipped the financial report. That's what I did by accident. So now we can talk about our bids, RFPs, and quotes. Sorry, I'm a little out of order here. So there is a bid to do the lighting replacement at Lowell. You'll see that, and then we just included, Simone included for full transparency, what the other bids came in at, but this is the one that we accepted. Did you have something?
Yes.
Go ahead.
We might not normally get excited about lighting bids, but actually, of course, it's very important for us to have proper lighting, but one thing that Brian and I have talked about is the switch to LED lighting saves a lot of money for the district, it's more eco-friendly, and many other school districts have done this like 10, 15 years
Many years
ago. And
ago.
so we actually are going to start saving a lot of money because of this, and so it's good for the environment, it's good for our bottom line, and switching our elementaries to LED is going to be, when we think about improving systems, this is, it's like the stone that kills multiple birds at the same time. Sorry for the violence analogy.
And the two buildings that we're going to do right away will be Lowell and Lincoln Park. And we got very good bids on them, but very competitive. The main reason is because we're doing the work at night when there's no students there. So whatever they take down, they have to have backup. They all understood that. But they're always looking for winter work inside. So we got very, very good bids, so.
We estimate that these bids will save several $100,000 a year, so that could be translated into supports for students, replacing technology, hiring staff, all of those things that we like to spend money on rather than excessive light bills.
Yes, we like that. Moving on. Do you want to say that into the microphone? Expenditure contracts, is that where I am now?
Yes.
If I may add, I think right before that, it's in your hand there. We have an update on the.
Thank you.
The D&T, and Brian.
That's
can-
what Brian's
Also,
for.
we have the contract for the sale of the Pioneer Lane property.
Yes.
That was before that. At least in here it is. In board book,
I can speak to it. So last spring, a closed board meeting was held with our school board that gave us permission to start the sale of some property that we own east of here. Is it 5 acres, I believe?
Yes.
Yes. And so we have a buyer, and the resolution was already done last spring, so this is the purchase agreement signed by all parties, and we're just bringing that to your attention for transparency. And then,
And if I could comment on the sale of the property too. I know sometimes during the budget reductions, people might say, well, you didn't listen to us, because it's hard to listen to everybody when you're doing budget reductions and have everybody feel heard. But the sale of this property actually came through suggestions at one of the budget reduction meetings, because they wanted to know where we were on this. So this is just an example of something we've done to reduce. I apologize, I have to step out for 30 seconds to take a quick phone call.
I think now Brian can talk.
Oh, yes, sorry, Brian.
Okay, just a quick overview of the update on the DNT or First Street building. We really need to change that name to get a permanent name. As you can see in the pictures, we got the new main water into the building. We had to tear the street up and we replaced all the brick in the streets. You can see the picture of the guys there, and then the new water services in the building. That'll be for domestic and for fire protection. There's a lot of demo going on yet. You can see the ductwork, and there's piping, and there's just a ton of demo work. Downstairs, there's 2 areas where we're going to be infilling another floor. It was the old press room, or printing room, and then one was the paper storage. That you can see they're digging the footings in for them. We have to go down roughly 24 inches or until we hit a rock bed. And so, and then put a decent sized footing in there to support the new floors. You can also see there's some selective abatement. For most of all, the building was abated. There are some areas that were underneath flooring and stuff, so able to them to drill through walls and to drill into the floors for the new ductwork and stuff. We have to abate that properly, so that's going on. They're almost done. The picture doesn't show, but on, right now, on second floor, the adult ed and part of the area learning center walls are all up, all framed up. And they are leveling floors, for the rest of the ALC. And they'll start putting walls up there very shortly. Downstairs, the same thing is going on. They're leveling the floors right now, and as soon as the floors are leveled, then they'll start putting walls up there.
I would also like to add that we will be doing a monthly update for you, HR Business Services. So we'll do a summary like this every month and provide pictures, and I think that would be very helpful for our community too, to be able to follow this.
The one thing I will say is that we've been working very close with the city in all aspects. We had a meeting with all the contractors there at the city hall, with all the building inspectors to make sure that all of our bases are covered, that we know when, everything that has to be inspected. Then we invited them over. They did a complete walkthrough of the building. And because sometimes in their specialty, they'll find something that we missed, and they didn't find anything. The fire marshal was there. Everything is up to code, and so they were very, very pleased with the progress of our construction, so.
That's great, thank you. And timeline is still the same, and we are,
We are going to be opening up end of July.
that's awesome. And I love getting pictures every month, so that'll be great to see the progression.
I get weekly or bi-weekly updates, and I will send that to the board members.
Love that.
Every time I get some, so,
Thank you.
thank you.
Assistant Superintendent Bonds,
Well, thank you, and you're doing a really nice job.
thank you.
Just let you know that. So I want to say thank you to Brian and his team also for all of the work that they're doing with the First Street build-out. We know there's a lot of dialogue that has come to the board regarding the First Street build-out. This is another step forward with trying to make sure there's great communication with not only the school board, but the community and our program leaders. So this diagram and project plan that you see is being or has been shared with all of the program leaders that will be moving into the First Street build-out. So they are kept abreast with happenings at the First Street. Also know, we've shared this before, that we also have inside the district, we have a meeting, virtual meeting that occurs twice a month with program leaders to give them an opportunity to ask questions along the way. And that's been happening since, I want to say since before the school year ended last year. So it's something that has been happening and occurring. Again, we want to make sure there's really good communication with our program leaders to ask questions, to just, continue to be involved. We also will be meeting, I want to say, is it this week that we're meeting or next week? That we're meeting with our program leaders again, just to even start talking about things like carpet. We're at the stage where we are selecting carpet and some of those finer things. Those program leaders will have an opportunity to share input on the carpet scheme for the areas with some guidelines, because there's some things that we want to make sure is consistent throughout the building, but they will have an opportunity for input for their designated areas on some things, including carpet, maybe small things like cabinetry and things of that nature. But again, the vast majority of those things have been identified and have already been, planned out. And so just making sure you're all aware that we are in communication and have been in communication with our program leaders that will be entering that space. And I want to say thank you to Brian and his team.
Just another quick question on that building. So I know there's going to be a significant amount of extra space in the building, possibly, like down below.
In the basement,
So has there been any discussion on the uses potential for that area?
We consider that phase two.
Phase two, okay.
We've been calling that phase two for future potential, but right now there hasn't been any deep discussions on the use of that space. Brian? Accurate or you?
that is totally accurate. It's phase two, and there's been some talk about different things that we could put down there, but our biggest concern is to get the building opened up in July and get the people in there, and then we can do phase two without bothering the people upstairs, so.
Thank you so much. I just appreciate hearing all of the updates and knowing what's going on and your transparency with everything, so thank you.
Is that the First Street property? And actually, super minor thing, but if we can refer to it as the First Street property now, as much as I respect the Duluth News Tribune, where we keep calling it the DNT building, but just because it rings a bell. But I also know that the board wants to work on the renaming process, and just a reminder to the board that we should probably get started. It's a multi-month process, and so getting that process started sooner rather than later would be nice, just because it would be nice if in August when we unveil, if we could have, there's also signage and things like that that we'll want to consider.
That's correct. We have to get the naming for it so we can get our signage for on the outside of the building and different things on the inside.
Yes, and I just want to say thanks for all the work that you're putting into that. I know it's a lot of work, and I can't wait to see it.
I love doing it.
Awesome. So now, thank you. Moving on, we've got our expenditure contracts. One to highlight is this one for Superintendent Magus and Officer Wellens. For the audit, is that correct? Okay.
The Nespra contract?
Yes, the Nespra contract, thank you, that's Nespra. So, do you want to speak to that?
Sure. So the NSPRA contract is basically what they do is they do a deep audit of all of our communication. If you remember, part of our strategic roadmap talks about the staff, student, and families' desire to be well-informed. And so looking at the different ways that we keep people informed, whether it's through Parent Square or our webpage or through our newsletters, they go deep with their communication audit, looking at how we do it, but also conducting focus groups, and also trying to make sure the focus groups include historically underserved populations to see if we're communicating effectively in those areas, and then they give recommendations and would come back to the school board to do a full report to the school board. So part of it is thinking about things like when we did our referendum to make sure that we're that all of our communication is as good as it can be. And I would say we've improved some things with communication over the years, and I think that Adele has done a great job, but there's still some things as far as internal communication and staff communication that there's a lot of opportunity for improvement there that we're hoping that, I know it's an investment to do this, but it also pays off. We talked earlier about our enrollment going up, and I think one of the reasons why our enrollment is going up is because people are hearing the great news about how wonderful Duluth Public Schools are. And so investing in this communications audit will help us improve and hone that communication further so that we can make it even better. And if you think about the cost of the contract is $25,000, but that is 2.5 students. So if we were able to recruit 2.5 additional students because we have better communication, it would pay for itself.
Yeah, And then we've got some contracts with, contracting with people for some Indigenous Peoples' Day events and a bunch of other things.
Yes, and that contract with Ricky White, you'll see 3 different dates. He was a phenomenal speaker. We got a lot of rave reviews from our staff talking about inclusion practices and our American Indian programming and our working with our Native American students. I would highly recommend, if you're around during some of the other PD days, it would be worth a listen. He's riveting and a great presenter.
I didn't know this about the parking spaces until now. I didn't know if that's a new thing, the parking spaces at Vineyard Church. Have we always done that?
Yes, we've been using their parking space.
Cool.
We rent it.
Yeah, I just didn't know that. Interesting. I'm new on this committee this year.
Can you say more about that, please?
It's used at East, across from East, and we use the parking lot there for any overflow.
Are we at the end? No, we're not.
I think at 270 now is the
Yes.
revenue contract.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Revenue contracts. Here we go. Okay. That is not it.
It's right before the Northeast service.
Thank you. My pages are off because I got it
Be right
first.
before that.
Yeah, there we go. Revenue contracts, let's see. Northeast Service Cooperative for career and tech ed, an agreement for us to apply for the NESC Impact Grant. Department of Youth and Families Restorative Practices Initiative Grant for Lincoln Park and Duluth Community School Collaborative. And that's it for revenue contracts. And then we've got grant applications. For the Lloyd K. Johnson Foundation, for Setting 3 project, for Health and Safety Minnesota Department of Education, we've got a grant to purchase 26 AED machines, which is always important to have. And then one from Essentia Health for the HOSA that I talked about earlier. And then, sorry, Superintendent Magus?
Sorry. I just wanted to say I'm very grateful to Adele for putting that grant together. It could literally save lives, and to have those extra AED devices in place is very important. We also, thinking about safety, we had our new safety manager, coordinator, start today, and you want to just mention that individual over?
Yes, his name is August Leopold, and we will make sure that he is present to be introduced at the next either CAL meeting and or school board meeting. So we're just really excited that he is joining us, and he brings a lot of expertise from, not St. Louis County, Douglas County, from Douglas County in that space. And so we're just really pleased that he'll be joining us, and he will have a chance to introduce himself.
I have a question about the AEDs. So we purchased 26 of them. How many did we have before? Like, is this 26 additional AEDs, or is it updating AEDs that we had already?
To my understanding, they're mostly additional AED devices. Sometimes we have buildings that only have 1 or 2, and if you think about a huge building like East,
Yeah.
we need extra AED devices, because many times the difference between life and death could be the distance between you and the AED device, so we're really glad. Our partnership with the American Heart Association has been really positive over the past few years, and having those as a support for us is really helpful.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And then we've got our change orders that were signed in October. Yeah, so flooring for some of our buildings. Yeah, Denfeld water main replacement, design services for the First Street building. Was that for the meeting or for calling it the First Street building?
Calling it the First Street building.
I got a high five, cool. Simone?
Yes. Are we at the end of our meeting?
I believe we are at the end of our meeting,
Okay,
except
great.
for Assistant Superintendent Bonds. Did you have something?
I do not, thank you.
Okay.
I just wanted to add that last week, Finance Manager Sheila Stevens and I, and along with our Purchasing Coordinator Kathy Holman, we attended MASBO, the MASBO Conference. It's the Minnesota Association of Business Officials. So anyone that's in finance, it's well-attended. There are at least 500 business managers or directors there from the entire state of Minnesota. We had a fantastic keynote speaker. The gentleman spoke to AI and how it's going to affect our positions and gave great insight to how to use it. And it was one of the best keynote speakers I've listened to in many years. So it was great. The Minnesota Department of Education was there and gave some really good breakout sessions. That's where we learn when all of our UFAR budget codes are changing and our special education process is changing. And I attended the school finance meeting led by Director Kathy Erickson. So it was a good conference, and I'm really glad we went. So we learned a lot there.
That's great.
Thank you.
And then I would second that and say thanks for your department for attending the conference and always representing well statewide. I know you've done presentations, state-level presentations, and we did a national presentation this summer, but you were the content. I was just the tap dancer. But just want to say thanks. Also, thanks to Assistant Superintendent Bonds. He's been working really hard to make sure all of those positions that we've had open for many months are filled. And so it's really great having that safety coordinator join us and have all of our positions filled at this point, which I think allows the systems and structures to go into place. And then finally, thanks as well to Steve Johnson, who has been really going above and beyond and doing many higher level leadership things than would be normal for the HR manager, and just wanted to say how much we appreciate his work.
Yeah, thank you. If that's it, I think that concludes our meeting. So thank you all for putting up with me, and I'm happy to have Amber back next month. We are adjourned.